Chappy. This is Junior. Keep it locked here. AdrenalineUndergroundRadio.com.
It's 4:00 in the morning now, and I really should be getting some sleep. My head won't rest on the pillowcase, though my body says I'm needing it deep. And I just can't seem to work it out. The same thing happens time after time, and I'm sick and tired of being so sick inside. It's 5:00 in the morning now, and I'm laying here just counting the hours. It seems I've been here a lifetime now. I'll see the sun come up and warm up the flowers, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. My bedding always ends in a heap. I'm going out of my mind, and I'm only trying to get me some sleep. Is it 'cause I'm feeling sad? Or is it just my head taking me to places I don't wanna go and keeping me awake at night? I just don't know. 6:00 in the morning now, and I'm finally getting ready to sleep. My eyes feel like they're a ton of bricks, and my bedroom clock is ready to bleed. And I've had my fill of counting sheep. I'm so tired, but I just can't dream. And I can't wake up 'cause I haven't even been to sleep. Is it 'cause I'm feeling sad? Or is it just my head taking me to places I don't wanna go and keeping me awake at night? I just don't know. It's 4:00 in the morning now, and I really should be getting some sleep. My head won't rest on the pillowcase, though my body says I'm needing it deep. And I just can't seem to work it out. I really don't know why it should be, 'cause I'm only trying to get me. If only I would let me. The night's gone by and it's left me, and I'm needing some sleep.
Chappy and Jrs Podcast, out on all your favorite media streaming platforms, featuring raw and uncensored Fridays.
Hi, this is Mickey.
And this is Mary.
We're from Aldo Rocks, and you're listening to my good friends at Adrenaline Underground.
Well, thank you for coming on to the Chappy and Jrs Podcast. And thank you, Kirsten, for entertaining our guest while we got ready.
I was telling them about the shootout in Savannah.
Yeah, we were listening. We were actually sitting, we've been sitting here for about, 10, 15 minutes while y'all were chatting in the chat. We just let you guys chat, and finally we were like, oh, time to go. So why don't we start off by you go ahead and introducing yourself, name of your band, and let's get everybody.
Right. Okay. Well, my name's Anthony. If it's a Sunday, but it's not, so you can call me Tony. And the band we have here this is Sheffield in the United Kingdom, England, in fact, yeah. Sheffield, Steel Town, bit like Motor City for yourself, but we don't do that kind of music. And our band's called the Zedds, which is Z-E, or Z for you, Zedds.
Mm-hmm.
And we do all original stuff, which is written by me primarily, with my lead guitarist friend James. I'll go through the members of the band. So there's myself, and then there's James Briggs, who does lead guitar. I've got Adrian Ward, who's the bass player, and I've got Jake Jacobs, who's the drummer. So there's four of us. I play the rhythm, and the other ones, as I've mentioned before. So we do kind of Britpop, original 60s type sounding stuff.
I love it.
And
I love it. I've been listening to it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
It sounds kind of like the Bee Gees and
the Bee Gees. I don't wear trousers that tight.
No, like the early Bee Gees. I like the early Bee Gees. Like I grew up, like my mom loved the Bee Gees growing up, so I mean, you guys have got some of that, you know, the pop. Like when they first came out, it's not like the 70s type of Bee Gees, but like the 60s type of Bee Gees when it was, you know, real pop and all the girls started going screaming and, you know, fainting and things like that.
Are you getting mixed up with the Beatles here?
Oh, yeah. Beatles, yeah. And then there's the Monkees, too.
Oh, I love the Monkees, yeah.
Yes.
I do. I actually sit and watch back series of their stuff. I mean, the original Monkees shows were terrible, but the music's absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Even though they didn't play the song.
There's also something like, you know, the Golden Earring. There's a little bit of that mixed in there. Yeah.
Well, people tell us that we sound a bit Beatlish or Oasis, more modern version of the same thing, really. You know, but we call it, well, we just call it what we want to do. We just make noises and stuff and enjoy ourselves, you know. It's not to be impressed. If you like it, that's fabulous. If you don't like it, that's fabulous, you know. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy it. We enjoy it, so that's all that matters, really. Right.
So you mentioned you guys, you mentioned that you do all originals and that you write them.
Yeah.
What is your process of writing your music? Do you have a certain process of how you do it?
Well, the quick answer to that is make it up as I go along. The thing with me is I'll sit and strum the guitar and maybe get a couple of chord progressions or something, and then words just come into my head. And then I expand on it. But I always do try and make the songs have a bit of a meaning or tell a story. If you listen to them, you'll find, you know, there's one in there called Only the Good Die Young, which was written years ago, and that was a friend of mine. Original band, we were all firefighters.
Okay.
And so we used to mess around in between working, obviously. So the guy who played the drums, the original drummer, he was on his third divorce. So I had this idea of a song that he really wanted her to get, you know, he wanted to get rid of her, really, but he couldn't. Just played on a few words and that. But other stuff, I don't know how many you've actually listened to. Have you listened to one called Sleep?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's like a parody of John Lennon's I'm Only Sleeping, which is he doesn't want to get out of bed and I can't fall asleep. So there's different ideas that come into my head. I mean, I could pick something up here now and play it and I'd have 7 words come in my head. And I must do this now. I'm getting to the stage where I have to write stuff down because I forget it afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, the sleep one I kind of understand because, like, I have insomnia really bad.
Yeah. Well,
so
play it to yourself. It'll bore you to sleep.
But yeah, like I'll sit there at sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning going, oh, geez, Lord, come on, just let me go to sleep. And then, you know, at 8 o'clock, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm ready to go to sleep.
I'll tell you a quick story about that as well. When I can't get to sleep, he's disappeared. He's gone. There he is. So, there's a little story. I don't know what you call them. The house I live in, it's got one house attached to it. Semi-detached, they call them in England.
We call them, what is it? Duplexes.
Yeah.
So, whatever, yeah. So you've got two houses basically together, right?
Yeah.
And the guy next door, he's a lovely, lovely old fellow. He's about 80 something, but he's got all these bloody clocks that ding dong all night. You know? So I might be just snoozing and I get bing bong. Oh shit, it's 2 o'clock. And then, so, you know. So I have got experience of what you're saying there, Kirsten. You know, I'm with you on that one.
No, I've got a funny story. My grandmother had a German clock, and her house was just very old and creepy. Like, it was huge. But if you weren't asleep, like, every hour on the hour, that clock would go off, and I would sit there, and my grandma would be like, "Oh, Hannah, did you sleep well?" And I was like, "No, that fucking clock." Every night. Why can't you turn it off at night? Like, so between like 6 o'clock, you know, in the morning I could, you know, it'll go off. I was like, but at night I was like, I don't need it going off at freaking midnight.
There's so many creepy hours.
It's old. Don't do it like that. I was like, God.
Oh dear. So she lived in a big creepy, they didn't call her base, did they?
It was just a big house. Like, it was the biggest, pretty much the biggest house in, like, the town that she lived in.
Talking about
she lived in Illinois.
Old houses, creepy houses. I mentioned before I went to Savannah. That was in 1984, so I'm not sure what it's like now. But I was in the military, and we docked in Savannah, and it was down the poorer end of town, if you want, where the dockyard is, yeah?
Yeah.
And I went for a walk, like, I was trying to find, what do you call it, main town or uptown, whatever, and we went for a
Downtown.
walk. But we went past all these old houses, and honestly, it was just like watching an old Civil War movie, you know, with a rocking chair on the front and whatever. I don't know if it's like that now, but it was...
It is. It still is.
It
was so spooky. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
it really was.
It is.
Yeah.
I could send you some pictures from when we went.
Yeah, sure, send them away, because I love history anyway. That's another thing, that's sidelines at music. Anyway, carry on with music questions. I'm overruling here, aren't I? I'm carrying, doing all my own thing.
That's okay.
No, you're fine. This is kind of like, we try to get to know the people, so this is...
I definitely try to get to know everybody and like what they like to do and stuff like that. What are some of your other interests that, besides music?
Well, I love sport. Football, proper football, not your football. Ours is called football because we kick it, you throw it. So anyway, but that's a different point. What else? I love football. Have you heard of cricket? You must have seen cricket at some point.
We know.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy that. I like watching current affairs. I've actually got all the American news channels. I I tune into those on occasion and watch different American channels because I like to.
Don't watch American
Do not
news.
believe MSN. Don't believe CNN. Don't believe CBS. Don't believe NBC. None of that, because all of our media is crooked. All of our media is crooked.
Right, actually, to be honest with you, the ones I like the best are Hannity and Tucker and.
Hannity is probably about. He's pretty truthful about stuff. He's pretty
Tucker.
truthful.
Is it Tucker? Yeah, Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker, I guess, is too.
I know they always criticise one another, and they pull that. Is it Don Lemon?
Chris Tucker, Chris Tucker, he'll get on. He'll go to the White House. Now, I like him just because he goes to the White House when he starts asking questions. Like, they get really upset and they just want to leave and don't want to answer the questions.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting now because you talk about your media being crooked. I've been watching a lot of the news and they're talking about Biden with these papers that's gone missing or in his garage with his Corvette.
Yeah.
There's hardly any mention of it over here because it doesn't suit the local media to have it for the rest of the people to be informed. Whether he's done it or not, even it's a story.
He did.
Oh,
But
I
what's
think
so funny about it is